Welcome, everybody. Welcome, dear friends, to another episode of the Personal PR Show. And today, I'm super excited to introduce you to Tessy. Tessy is an icon, I have to say. Like the first word that occurs to me when I see you, when I talk to you, is like, you're just an icon. And that's why we wanted to have you here on the show to really understand how you do it all. We only have, 40 minutes together. I know that it will be difficult to say how you do it all, but maybe we can already get some hacks from you, especially when it comes to personal branding, because you have one of the strongest personal brands I've ever seen in my life. So welcome, Tessy, to our show, to the Personal PR Show.
Thank you, Jessica, and hello, everyone. It's really, really great to be here with you.
Thank you. Thank you for making the time. I know that you're always so busy. So everybody wants a piece of you. And now me and the group have a piece of you for about 40 minutes. That is such a privilege.
I'm excited.
Yes, exactly. So Tessy, usually I ask my guests if they would like to introduce themselves. And I know that if you introduce yourself, you're going to talk for about 2 hours, right? And we are only going to scratch the surface in 2 hours. So having said that, would you still like to introduce yourself and just give us, some pillars of who you are and what you do?
Well, it's always difficult to put it like that. Who am I? I'm a mother of 4 children, which is really the most important thing in my life. I think we all need to define a core value, a core goal that we have, and then work towards that goal. And my core goal is really to make this world a better place for them, inspire them, and hopefully one day inspire them so much that they would step into my footsteps and continue what I have started. That would be, of course, ideal. So that is me, who I am. I'm a woman. I'm an advocate. I am a serial entrepreneur. I'm a philanthropist. I'm a dreamer. I am a chief troublemaker. So I don't take a no for an answer, but also when I see when injustice is being done, or when I see, that people are being taken advantage of, I do say something, which not everyone likes. And this is me in a nutshell. You know, I'm kind of like there's not many of us out there. I'm a hybrid person. I like a lot of mental stimulation. So I have several companies, several charities, but I'm an ambassador to around 21 global charities, including Cherry Blair, the UN, and so on. And I just need this because, I get bored otherwise, I guess. And I really like what I'm doing. So I don't think I work at all, because it's just such a great pleasure to meet always new people, but also see people grow that I have met or that I'm working with, and see where they're coming from and where they're going, and including me, right? It's all a process. So that's me in a nutshell. And what
it's a super tiny nutshell, because this has just been, scratching the surface, but is already like super outstanding. And I'm 100% sure that our guests at home, that you guys are pretty impressed by what Tessy has just said. So so when we talk about personal PR, which is the area that I actually created, we talk about personal branding, thought leadership, media relations, and super connecting in terms of strategic networking, in terms of community building, and you excel at every single one of these pillars. But for today, we decided, that's why we have to have you on the show multiple times. I think, please come back to the show regularly.
As long as you don't get tired of me, why not? It's your time, and time is the most precious commodity we'll ever have. If you want to spend it with listening to me, be my guest, right?
Yes. Okay, I assume that is a yes. You're going to be regularly here on the PR Show. You're going to have your column once a month or once a quarter on the Personal PR Show. I mean, we can really learn from you in all of these areas, right? This is amazing. And today we are going to focus on, your multidimensional personal brand. So one of the questions that I've always wanted to ask you is, when did you actually start with this super strong and solid personal brand, and ever expanding personal brand that you have? When did you actually realize, at what age did you realize that you were a personal brand?
I think we all are a personal brand. From the moment we can think and take conscious decisions. So as such, my father always told me, as soon as you step out of this house, you represent us. And that was, since I can think, something that has always been in the back of my mind. So the way I behave and everything I do will fall back on my family and on myself, no matter what. So it should be something good, right? And that is also something that I continue to do with my children. Always when they do anything, I give them quite a lot of freedoms, but I tell them, do good choices. You can do what you want, but do good choices, because people will look at you, but they will also look at us. And if I get to know it, we will need to have a conversation, and you're not gonna like it, right? And then you will need to own up to it, which I think is the most important part of it. So for me, I was raised like that, what comes around goes around, and that, you know, you treat people the way you want to be treated. And as such, with personal brand, I think my personal brand is so strong because what I depict and what I am and what I sell and what I do is me. You know, I am very authentic. You can see what you get with me, the way I talk. I don't lie. And I'm very straightforward. And I think that is really important. People know with me where they are. And people say that I changed. That is quite impossible, because I am what I am, and I continue to am what I am. So it's just, you know, it's always interesting, because I think people and myself, what is really important as well with personal brand is to listen and act, and listen more than you act or speak or do. And that is something I learned. And that is also one of the major hindrances why brands fail, because you don't listen, and you do things that, you know, that people maybe don't understand, or people didn't listen to you. And you know, I have it all the time. My husband yesterday, we're writing on a leadership book, and he said to me, you know, leadership for him is constant trouble. He said, there will be never not trouble in leadership. And I said to him, wow, that sounds depressing. And he's like, yes, it is, but he's like, it is constructive though, and it's agile, and it's opportunistic, and it has all of these other really positive angles to it, if you want. Sorry, if I look back, it's because my 4-month-old puppy is walking around the office, and it's not my office, right? So I'm like,
fine.
Not that there's a wee on the floor or something like that. But yeah, that is what it is. But to wrap that up with the personal brand, one of my key ethos that I have always lived by, I don't know when I started thinking really like that, probably when I joined the military, because that was the first time I was forced to be an adult very fast. I joined the military when I was 17. And I needed to grow up right now, right there, when I was in the bus going to the military station with the military bus. And I realized that a leader, a good leader, when everything goes right, looks out of the window. But if something goes wrong, looks into the mirror. Because then it's something you didn't do or didn't explain right, or something you missed. And it's not the others, because it's your leadership, right? And I'm in a situation right now. Well, there's always situation coming up, and good and bad, right? And I have one situation where I'm actually now at the moment, I said to my husband yesterday, I'm putting up the mirror, and I told him the scenario, and I said to him, what am I not seeing, right? So also get feedback for it. And I think all of these things, if you keep doing that as a good practice and something that becomes natural to you, your brand will become automatically strong, because people will rely on you. They will trust you. They will believe you. They will be loyal to you. All of these things will come when you have a proper code of conduct and proper values as well. Is it corporate values for the brand you have? Is it personal values? If it's both, right? It's all of that intertwined.
Yeah, wow, I love this answer. So it appears that actually personal branding has a lot to do, is maybe tightly intertwined with relationship building, right? Through the relation. Oh, so cute. His name is Sherlock.
Otherwise, I get nervous that he does a wee-wee on the floor. So he stays here. He's not going to do it on me.
Yes, we can talk about his personal brand as well. I mean, his name already is an indicator for a strong personal brand, Sherlock.
But did you know that golden doodles, So Golden Retriever and Poodle are two of the most intelligent dog breeds in the world.
Hence the name.
That's why we took him as well, because having a dog who is not that smart just doesn't function in this family. You know, my husband is an engineer and serial entrepreneur who loves math. Then there is me, serial entrepreneur and logistical maniac, and you know, it's working in so many different things at family. So he would not fit in if he would not be Sherlock, right? So yeah.
Wow, so he's your fifth kid, probably.
He is. My husband was very excited and he said, oh, should we have another one? So Theodore, he's 15 months, almost 16 months. And he's just, you know, we're a patchwork family, right? And as such as well, you know, family and business and everything. And with the kids, so I have 3 other teenagers. My oldest is almost 17 in March, then Noah is 15, and then Julia will be 15, which is the daughter of Frank, in February. And as such, you know, I think Theodore gives the glue who brings the patchwork family together somehow. Yeah. And as my husband, when he did, like a few months ago, he said, so should we do another one? And I was like, no. I said, 4 kids is a lot. Nowadays, with me being very busy, but I also want to make sure I never compensate on the precious time I can have with my children, because that's time I'm never going to get back. And so we got a dog, but it's a male again. So I have mostly only guys at home. Maybe that is just my legacy, right? Woman with many men. So
yes, but you're constantly in touch with women because you do so many things for women, like with all of your communities. So I think you're in good company.
I have my sisters around me, exactly. I don't have them biologically. That's why I surround myself with them all over the world.
Exactly. Which brings us back to the angle that we just explored, which is basically that personal branding has a lot to do with relationship building, and actually also with community building and community management, which is something that you do brilliantly, right? So you have so many communities. I'm so lucky to be part of one of them, which is Vitamin W. So how did Vitamin W come about, and how does it, let's say, complement your personal brand?
So Vitamin W is really, it's women that I love, and it's women that I admire, women that inspire me, that I put together for them to meet each other. Yes. And also it's for me, I travel a lot. Well, at least I did before the pandemic. I'm starting now again more. But it is really for me that wherever I go into the 7 countries where it is now, that when I go, that I always have a sister, so always a home, right? Where I can go and really enjoy just the intimacy of trust, right? And brainstorming, you know, because vitamin C is vitamin W is not just vitamin C as well, but vitamin W is not just, you know, a sisterhood. We do a lot of business as well. It's since inception a year ago, we make, well, within, and that is just roughly around the thumb, right? There was transactions amounting to the value of around £500,000 already, right? And that's just women working with each other for the 7 geographics. And do I get anything from it? No, I don't. I get the satisfaction, though, of being the chief troublemaker that make that happen. And that gives me so much satisfaction. And, you know, when you said I'm such a great community builder, I'm not perfect, Jessica. I really am not. I'm very young. Still, I have a lot to learn. But my intentions are pure and my intentions are honest. And I think with that, you know, the women feel that they can trust me and they know I have their back. So you know, the WhatsApp chats, as you know, they're extremely busy, right? Like 10 million messages blah, 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 here and there, and I have that in 7 countries. I know, I read, and I know every message, and I need to review them, because that is what I advocate as well, for a safe space where women can feel safe to talk about, is it something they are bothered, to talk about their relationship with whoever, talk about their children, but also talk about work, talk about business, talk about what they need, talk about what doesn't work. Like whatever it is, whatever floats your boat at this moment in time, and whatever you need or whatever do you want to share, that is a space for you. And that is what I try to build with that. And I really like it. It gives me so much. So yeah, I hope it grows as naturally and organically as it has so far, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, exactly. Oh my God. In next year, in 2 years, you're going to be in 20 countries and then 30 and so on. You have chapters all over the world. That is amazing.
Amen to that. like you, because you as well, you know, whatever, when someone asks something, oh, I'm going to Rome for holiday. Oh yeah, I add you to the Rome group. Oh, I'm going to, so I'm like, wow, Jessica, you know, you're like, it's the next level, right? I'm a little bit more restricted, where I'm more structured in that. You are just, and I said to my husband, I said to him, wow, she really is everywhere. And, you know, that is commendable as well, because it is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, exactly, which I have started to outsource as well a few months ago at the beginning of this year, because I can't do everything myself. So thank God I have Ching, my relationship manager. So she helps me so much. She manages so many communities and I hardly have to do anything. Like, she does the work and I just monitor, like you said as well. Yeah, thank God. But Tessy, thank you so much for this acknowledgement. I mean, said by you, it's an honor. So another question that I wanted Thank you. Another question that I wanted to ask you, and that actually was going to be probably one of the main angles of our conversation, is how do you manage to bring all of these dimensions together in one personal brand? So you are, to me, you're a multidimensional person. You are a multidimensional personal brand. And I come into contact with a lot of people that are multidimensional. A few of them are clients of mine as well, but of course it's nothing comparable to where you are, because you have so many dimensions. I don't know, like the people I talk to, they maybe have 5 to 7 dimensions. You have 39 or more, right? So they often come to me with the problem of, how can I simplify? How can I maybe find 1 or 2 or 3 main pillars? Has this ever happened to you? Have you ever, I don't know, sat down and try to strategize or to streamline at least your personal brand and say, okay, these are the dimensions that I'm in, and I'm going to give priority to these ones. And maybe the second one, you know, maybe other ones are going to be like in tier number 2 and then tier number 3, because you said that you are a logistical maniac. So probably you like organizing your personal brand as well. Have you ever given any thought to this?
Well, yeah, logistics is for me everything. You know, I'm like the HR manager of this family, and logistics is really key. Without logistics, this would all fall apart. But that as well, you know, when you say if I have strategized on the different hats I'm wearing, is that I am very lucky that everything I do is linked in some way or another under the pillars, which just found themselves really on women empowerment. You know, is that my charity? Is that my business? Is that my fashion line? Is that my podcast? Whatever it is, it has a lot with society and female human rights and human rights and such. They are quite all interlinked, which I guess I'm very lucky. It's not like that I have a gaming company and a high heels company, you know, to reconcile with then whatnot. I don't even know how other people, some people have really the most incredible diverse portfolios, right? But then again, you know, to these people, I would say, so for me, it just naturally came that it all is linked, which makes it extremely easier for me. And also what I'm lucky with, it's not all the time. It's quite seasonal. Like my charity is mostly in the summer when it gets a bit more busy. During the year, we don't have much operations actually, other than when the teachers are traveling, which is mostly around the summers. Then, you know, with the fashion line, it depends on the different seasons, right? And also the geographics or fashion weeks, that's again seasonal. With the podcast, I do it when I can. And with my company, with the consultancy and everything we do, I work with people that I want to work with and to projects that call to me, which again will automatically fuel into this. But something that helped me very much was reading a book a long time ago, and I must read it again. It's called The Medici Effect, which you will probably know. It's the plot of it is kind of like, what does a mosquito and an elephant have in common? And it talks about how Italy made its wealth with the revolution because of the Medici family, who was the first one in history to publicly cross-fertilize between sectors. And the book is about that, because that is what I do. I cross-fertilize between the sectors and it clicks, right? It doesn't always click And yes, that is also why startups don't work, some of them, but that's okay. Then you wrap yourself up, and yes, okay, it can be a little kick on your ego. You don't feel great because you have not succeeded the way you wanted. But I think you always succeed, even if you don't want to see, because you have seen what doesn't work, and then work on that and then build something else. And that is how I have been working my whole life, really, and have built what I have now. Also, what is really important, Rome was not built not just in one day, so patience, but also not alone. There was millions of people, right? And as such, I surround myself with people that I feel inspired to, that are smarter than me. I delegate as well, you know, to bring fresh ideas and innovation and give people the feeling of ownership as well. And all of that is important as well for your personal brand, because if you just want to do everything yourself and take the credit for everything yourself all the time, it just doesn't work. It would never work. Yeah.
Totally. Oh my God, I love this. So we should read the book. You said the Medici effect, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Awesome.
You have it on Amazon and everywhere, and you can see the elephant, and it's quite a little pocket book. Yeah, it's a good winter read. It's really not bad for people who are interested in personal brand and cross-fertilization of sectors and how to create proper innovation. This book will be so wonderful to read.
Absolutely. Thank you for the recommendation. This is amazing. Yes. But Tessy, we know that not only do you have a strong personal brand, but also you are a public figure. You are constantly in the media in more than one country, actually. So how did that happen? I mean, how did it get started? Because I think you've been in the media for many, many years already, like maybe, I don't know, maybe nearly 20 years. So how do you feel about that? Does it feel natural to you? Is it feeling natural to you now? And how can you maybe, do you actively influence that? Or do you just, let's say, pick the opportunities that come to you? Or maybe do you have a PR agency or somebody who helps you with PR? I don't know. We're very, very curious about that because, to be honest, like being in your groups, I really see that you're constantly in the media, like in big media as well. So there's so much interest from journalists around you.
Yeah, you know, everything has two sides to it, right? So there's the good and the bad and the ugly. And there's absolutely a lot of opportunity within that, because it also brings credibility, doesn't it, to be validated by big media outlets such as the Telegraph, the Guardian, and so on. I am humbled, and it makes me happy because I'm doing something right? But also it scares me because, you know, for me, it's if I'm on the covers, which I am often, is that something I would be proud if my children see it, right? And hence also going back to your first question, why do I do everything I do? Who am I? Well, I want to be someone that helps them land properly in this world and find their place by learning from me and making it their own, you know? And as such, you know, the media can be your best friend, but it can destroy you. It's a machine, right? And I have seen that. I have been in the media, that's right, since 2 decades. 2 decades actually, even more. My father's a politician. He was a politician since I could think. He was 24 years in politics. And as such, the media was always kind of around our family. But then I joined the military, was a lot in the media for that as well, because I was a woman in Luxembourg. At the time, we had only 20 women in the military. And then I was 17 and a half or 18, just barely 18, when I was deployed then after the booth camps and everything to Kosovo as the only woman of my draft. And I was there with almost 500 men, right? First I waited for my parents. And that obviously got a lot of media press as well. Did they want to take me? No, they didn't. But I made myself indispensable. That's another story, right? I got a truck license, which they needed, so they could not take me. That's how I did it, because they flew my brother out. They thought if my brother leaves, I'm not going to go. And I was like, yeah, nice try. Let's try again. And so, the media got interested in that because I just don't take no for an answer, right? And injustice just makes me even more excited to push a bit more. And so that's how it started. And then obviously I was I got married into the royal family, was married for 12 years, was Princess of Luxembourg. And as such, as it's quite a public exposure already, even though the Luxembourgish family, they are purely representative. They don't really do anything anymore. It's a constitutional democracy, so it's really the prime minister and the government and the people of Luxembourg who do something. The family just cuts ribbons, right, if you want. And but you are in the press a lot, because one thing, and that's why I'm a big monarchist as well, even though I divorced, one has nothing to do with the other, is that Luxembourg is so small and it needs the monarchy, because monarchy brings something you cannot buy, which is history. And I always believed in that power, right? And so I was very proud to be part of that, and I still am. You know, my boys are, my sons are the first grandchildren, right? My oldest is the first grandchild of the royal rulers, right? And as such, you know, I will always be connected to them. But that as well brought a lot of media. Then, of course, how dare me, we got divorced, and I just didn't wave my hand and said, oh, thank you for giving me old furniture and putting me on the street. But I went to fight for my rights, which obviously is not well seen, right? Because in the patriarchy and in the country which is ruled really only by almost by one woman in a dictatorship, it's kind of like interesting when people then are confronted with someone who says, no, I will fight, and I will fight for the right for my children to have what they need, right? And that, of course, got a lot of press. But I didn't want it. One thing is important to say, I never do dirty press. I don't, because I don't believe in it. You cannot destroy negativity with negativity. And as such, I got book deals of £3 to £6 million at a time for my story, even more. And I didn't do it. Why? Because I don't believe that a book will give justice, firstly, to what I saw, but also it's none of people's business. And also, just because people then know a little bit inside how it's happening doesn't change their opinion on me anyways, right? And it can fire back so badly where people are like, oh, that was really, that leaves a bad taste. That's a bit unelegant, because then my brand is stained when people are like, oh, well, as soon as she's unhappy, she's going to write a book about it. So maybe we shouldn't trust her, right? It's very bad on your brand. So just be quiet and move on, right? Fight your battles, but fight them for you and in the background, which I did. The press picked it up, but that they will do anyways, because they need stories, right? So yeah, I just always believed that through the press, I used them as friends, and I worked hard, and I still work really hard, and I will always work hard until the day I go. And I hope that people write about the good things I do and the change I have brought to thousands of people around the world and the whatever. That is what I'm interested in. I'm not interested in these toilet paper gossip magazines. I don't have time for that. So there's all kinds of press. And yeah, just be careful with it, because if you as a personal brand interfere with the machine and they are not on your side, or they find something that could be more profitable than the truth, they will take you down, right? Because that is just what it is, no? And so as such, I respect the press. I think journalists are very skilled people. They have very tough jobs. And I really am inspired by a lot of journalists. A lot of my friends are journalists as well. And as such, you know, I think everyone can write about me what they want, but it makes me happy to see that lately, over the last years, my work comes out more strongly than any other gossip stuff, which I'm not really interested in. And also, yeah, I've never needed a PR agency. I always just, as I said at the beginning, again, I just am me, right? Yeah. Did it take me 50 attempts to change my Wikipedia and the day of death of my brother? Because that was wrong too. Yes, it did. Did someone block that all the time, that I'm not just the wife of, but also I have university degrees, and oh my gosh, I actually have a brain. How scary is that, right? It took me a long time. But, you know, I think where persistency is, and also where the truth is, that will always prevail. And as such, I never needed a PR agency, but I do see the need in PR agencies for other people who have way bigger brands than me. You know, I'm like a guppy fish in the sea, in the Atlantic, you know, like tiny. I can regrow organs because that is what guppy fish can, and there's superpowers for that, but I cannot do anything else. But like Bill Gates and so on, you know, it's different, because imagine me, little guppy fish, right, with the press jumps on me, and they can, if they want, just rip me apart in the air if they like, right? But it's not that interesting, because who cares about Tessy? Who is that person anyways? But then you have the big people, right? And they have way other factors and scenarios happening to them, and I think they do need PR agencies to support them, you know. Also, it has to do with funding, right? If I would have more funding for my works, I would have grown already much more. Like having an assistant like you do, it's a dream of mine. I don't have anyone. I do everything myself for now because I just can't afford it, and I rather put it all in my programs and everything I do, or finance other things, than getting help myself, which is a problem. My husband always says that. But who knows, one day. But PR companies, I see their purpose. They have had a bad reputation, but I think they are extremely useful and fantastic. So if you need it, don't be afraid. I think you shouldn't be ashamed to say I use a PR company. Okay, let me just turn on the light here, because we're going into the, here we go.
Okay, the light is back.
I think the light was just getting the energy, like, let's make it really mystical. Ooh.
Yeah, it actually is quite good.
Coming out on the other side, you know, as a...
Yeah, it looked like a fireside conversation, which is actually what it has been feeling like over the past 40 minutes. Yes, because you've been opening up so much to us, and I really appreciate the trust. Wow, this is amazing. But I know that you have to go in 3 minutes. I have 2 more questions. Let's see if we can fit them both. If you have to go, then not to worry. But maybe I'll tell them both. Right. Yeah. And then you can choose one of them, or if you want, you can reply to both. So the first one is going to be about you coming from Luxembourg, right? Because this is really part of your brand. For example, your Instagram handle is Tessy from Luxembourg. So that was the first question, if you want to riff on that a little bit. And the second question was something that you don't need to reply to, but it's a question that I ask everybody, every single guest that we have on the show. The last question I ask is, what is a question that I haven't asked you, but I should have asked you? So you can choose one of the 2. The first one is, of course, more personal.
Well, Tessy from Luxembourg, because I am from Luxembourg. There's also some people who said, well, you lost your title. You shouldn't call yourself Tessy from Luxembourg. Again, one has nothing to do with the other, which I think is hilarious. That people cannot differentiate. They just cannot think that far, you know. Cornelia has arrived. So that's why I call myself Tessy from Luxembourg, because I am, you know, I am Luxembourg. And if people like it or not, I will always be. Too bad. So that's that. And then with the other thing, a question you didn't ask me is what's next? So what's next is that I have a really, I have such an exciting project coming up, which will be launched in March in Luxembourg. I cannot say too much about it. I tell you a little bit offline if you want, Jessica. But it is exciting. It has to do with shining a light on specific people, empowering communities, and it will be very visible. It has to do with a big brand. It has to do with some maybe rebranding of some other brands, not of mine, but of others, and I'm helping them. It's a huge project, and I'm extremely excited. Another project I'm working on, which I can say a bit more because there I don't have a contract, it's just me, is that I'm in the process of writing children's books, because I always wanted to do that. And they will be in Luxembourgish first, because I don't have Luxembourgish books that I like for Theodore. He is 15 months, and I read to him in German and in English, and I like to read to him in my native language. And as such, I didn't see, well, there is books, of course, but I didn't click with them the way I wanted to, as I click with a German book or an English book. So I thought, well, maybe I do it myself because I like it and I need it for Theodor. And it will be a book series that grows up with him. So it's like 0 to 2 and then 2 to 3, 3, 4, you know, and the books grow up with Theodor, which I think is really beautiful. So it's really my gift to him, and for him to get to know his heritage, even though we don't live in Luxembourg at the moment, but to be very close, at least through the books. So that will be coming, and that normally the launch, if all goes well, will be on my birthday next year. So yeah, that and much more. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. And that is just a geeky mom doing things because I think it's cool for my own babies. So yeah, and I think these are the best projects as well. If you listen and think, well, how can I find that hard project? Just go within you, or say, what is my brand? What can I make out of my name and me as a persona and me as with my skills? You know, let me tell you, we all have, our earlobes are like our fingerprints. They're unique to you. And so are all your skills, because you have experienced life and the way you think and the way you work and what you read and what you eat and so on in your own personal way. No one is similar to you. And that makes you a unique brand. That makes you a possible multi-million-dollar empire, right? You just need to... you need to listen a bit more to your gut and what your passions are. You know, not everything is as exciting as Apple, as Steve Jobs. And did you know Steve Jobs was also fired from Apple before he even get to where he is, right? And so on. And as such, Oprah was fired from her job. Oprah was not Oprah until she created Oprah, right? And then Oprah was there because she made Oprah. And, you know, I repeated that because it's so important to hear that, you know, and as such, you know, what is that inside you? What do you see that you need? If something you need is the most important, that is the best business model, because if you need it, then it's very likely that other people need it too, right? And so on. So, yeah, that is what I'm going to leave you with some of my updates. And maybe a little bit of inspiration that I think in each and every one of you is an amazing product. You just need to tune in, get grounded, and listen to yourself on what you need, where you are. And nothing is too small. You know, you can start as small as you want. You know, Heinz with ketchup and so on, they started small, right? Because they needed something or they thought something was cool, right? The carbonara, spaghetti in Italy has its own story. The tomato, right? How the tomato colonized the world. It's just a red little circle, right? And yet no one could think it being gone, right? And that's why nothing is too small. You just need to start and also have the courage to do so, right? And believe in yourself and not just always... not just be inspired, but then leave it with the inspiration, because that is also a waste, isn't it? If you're inspired and then the candle is burning, but you let it die. So yeah, I think all of this is in your hands, and it was for me, and I just grabbed it, and I'm working on it every day. You know, it's like the mountain. You have the peak of the mountain, and under the mountain, in the water, you don't see the work, right? You just see the beautiful sky and everything on top of the mountain, but the work to get there, people don't see that often or don't want to see it. It's a lot of work. I'm not going to lie to you, and you're going to hate it sometimes, and you're going to cry, and you're going to feel lonely, and you're going to feel misunderstood, and what you're going to lack funding and whatnot. It's scary. You have sleepless nights. All of that is included. I have all of that all the time with everything I do. And yet I still keep doing what I'm doing because there is a purpose around it, right? So don't give up. I believe in you.
Oh my God, this has been amazing, Tessy. Thank you so much. You have to come back because you've enriched our lives so much over the past hour, but I know that this is just scratching the surface compared to everything that you know and that you can do and that you have experienced. I'm in awe. I'm really in awe. And I thank you so much for your time, and keep coming back to us, please, on a regular basis. We need you. Everybody needs you here in the personal PR community.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to come in to your platform and speak to all of you. If you have any other questions, you know, you can reach out to Jessica, but also you find me on Instagram, Tessy_from_Luxembourg, as Jessica mentioned before. And I do all of my social media myself. So if you write me a direct message, it will be me who replies. And it's always nice to hear from you, you know, from new people, new project, new ideas, what inspires you, what makes you tick. You know, because I learn as much from all of you as you maybe learn from me, you know. I think it's a give and take, and that is why we're all here, right? To help one another.
And this is what true leaders are. As you said, leadership is, first of all, is actually listening, and having a personal brand, first of all, is listening. Absolutely. I love all of this. Thank you so much, Tessy, for sharing your wisdom and experience with us. And we will see you very soon back here on a personal PR show.
Cannot wait.
Bye. Thank you. Bye, take care. Bye-bye. Bye, Cornelia. And Sherlock.
Bye. Yeah, we had fun.
So girls, have fun. Ciao, ciao. And bye, everybody. See you tomorrow for the next episode of the Personal PR Show. Bye-bye.